Let's bring back the nostalgia.
Welcome back to the Quirky Cast. It is once again another Wednesday, and we are sitting here on this couch, pretty in pink.
Yes, I'm so excited. I never get dressed up. I feel like I'm always just wearing like a long sleeve and some leggings, but here I am in pink in a dress with my hair down. You know, I still have my glasses on though. Couldn't get too ready.
Yeah, but we are filming a little campaign for myself today with Inkbox, so that should be coming out soon. But today I just got a few of my friends. Well, we haven't done it yet, but they're coming over for later. And we're going to film a little like cutesy get together scene with our brand new Inkbox tattoos that we put on.
Yeah. They're cute, but either my skin is weird or maybe I was sweating during it and mine's a little all over the place.
Yeah, well, at least we have a few of us that showcase the final product. Obviously, with a bunch of us doing this, it's bound for one of us to not work out so well.
Yes. I was like, I shouldn't have gone first. Like,
you know what? That probably is why. Because you were the guinea pig.
But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll turn out great. Okay, so my favorite thing to see on TikTok is Jake Shane, Octopus Lover, when he is doing the popsicle reveal.
Okay, yes.
And you sent me one the other night, and I just love watching them. If you haven't listened to any of our previous podcasts, one of our podcasts, we talked about our favorite flavors and stuff like that, or I can't remember, but I love orange flavored things. Anything orange. And Jake Shane, he does not like the orange flavored popsicles.
Nor do any of his friends, nor do any of the comments. All of the comments I looked and everybody is like, ew, orange. Like the orange comes again. Like, come on.
Yeah. So I think that he always wants like the red one, whatever flavor that is.
Yeah.
You want to know why I don't know what flavor that is? Because I will only eat the orange popsicles. When I was a kid, all I want at the store is a box of orange popsicles, and they never have just orange. And I like thinking about an orange popsicle right now, my mouth is watering.
You know what? It actually sounds really delicious. Yeah. Like waiting for the ice cream truck to come by in the neighborhood because we're running outside.
But I just think that it's so funny because you sent me that. And so he always, whenever he opens it, it's always an orange one, and him and his friends get so upset. And I'm like, send that to me. Give me that orange popsicle because I want anything orange. And also one other thing that I just saw today on TikTok, you know, my favorite person, Mr. Robert Pattinson.
Oh.
His baby is here with Suki Waterhouse. But yeah, there's pictures of them like holding a baby and like pushing a stroller and everything.
Aww.
I know, it's so cute.
Well, Robert Pattinson now finally has his
Renesmee.
I was trying to think of what the name was.
I know. I wonder what they named their baby.
Speaking about nostalgic movies, just like Twilight, there was this documentary on Nickelodeon and all of our favorite TV shows from when we were a kid, which I don't know if you guys have watched that. I watched it like literally all in one sitting, 4 hours straight. They're like 45-minute episodes, and it was intense.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I did watch the Alexa Nicholas YouTube video of the Dan Schneider interview, and she was like going off. Like, it's just so crazy.
Yes. So we're not going to go into it on this podcast. I would definitely recommend for you guys to go watch it yourself and actually learn everything that we were lied to as a kid, which is like very extreme. It was just crazy how when we were children watching these shows, it's like we didn't even think about anything, second guessing anything,
like all the jokes and stuff. Like we were probably just like, oh, haha, that was funny, but we had no knowledge. We didn't know any better. And
like now looking back at it, it's like absolutely disgusting and insane. So I kind of wanted to switch off, and instead of going about all the sad stuff about our nostalgic era as a child, I was thinking it'd be fun to bring back all of the fun stuff that we loved.
Yes.
Things that we used to play, shows we used to watch, or like certain things like that.
Yeah. Just like memories that we have.
Yeah, from our childhood.
Okay, so one show that I honestly think about, like, I probably think about it once a week. I don't know why, but I just think about the place that they're in and the people, and I'm like, wow, like, I wish I was in that town.
Am I thinking of Lazy Town?
Yes.
Really?
I loved Lazy Town as a kid. I just like the girl with the pink hair, and then there's like that like weird guy and
the mustache.
Yeah. I don't know. I just loved it so much, and for some reason, it's just like I think about it in my everyday life.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I can't even picture what they looked like, but I do remember watching that a little bit when I was younger. What's a show that I was obsessed with? I mean, I obviously watched like Powerpuff Girls was my favorite. Blue's Clues. I even went to a Blue's Clues concert.
What?
When I was young. We went to a literal concert in an amphitheater. I don't even know who was on stage during this time. Like, obviously, they didn't have Blue's Clues on stage, like Blue.
Wow.
But I remember that, yeah.
That reminds me of like the Wiggles. Didn't they do like concerts or something?
Yes, I love the Wiggles.
Wow,
too.
I forgot about that. My favorite song from them was Fruit Salad.
Yummy, yummy. But yeah, I feel like I was very much a cartoon person when I was young, and I feel like that's even nowadays. I love anything cartoon.
I'm trying to think of what else. I feel like there was like, of course, the Magic School Bus.
Okay,
but I feel like I kind of watched that in school. I feel like, or am I just putting those two together?
I feel like it was only for like school topics. When they were trying to teach us like something specific, they would show us an episode.
Speaking of school, Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh wait, yes.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him.
I remember him. There was also another one. It was Tim and like Morty or something. Oh, that's not their names, but they were like science people. It was a robot and a man that would like talk to you.
I remember that. Yeah. I have a whole list of stuff written down, and like all this stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this.
We have deep memories of these things, and we're just like, I'm imagining like us with a rope just pulling them out of our brains right now.
Yeah. And speaking of what you just said, which I always think about also, SpongeBob, of course, but there's that one episode where he's going through the files in his brain, like looking for something. I always picture that whenever I'm like deep in thought trying to remember something. I'm like, SpongeBob is in there like going through the files and can't find it, setting it all on fire.
Yeah, I say whenever I am like about my day and I start singing a song out of nowhere, I think of the scene from Inside Out when they accidentally press the button and it's just like they accidentally they'll put in like the wrong thing and it will be a music, and that's why like the person's singing the song out of nowhere, and I just think about these little people in my head just like pressing buttons. Yeah.
I was just nodding my head agreeing with you because I thought you were going to talk about the SpongeBob episode where there's like the earworm, where he has the worm in there, and the worm is like, I think he's like putting on a record or something, and he can't get the song out of his head. And he goes throughout his day, has the same song in his head, and he like has to go to the doctors or something, I think.
Okay. I don't remember that one, but yeah. You know, speaking of SpongeBob, it amazes me how we'll have an episode on in the first, not even kidding you, the first 2 seconds that shows on the screen of where they're at, Austin knows exactly what episode it is.
Really?
Every single time it's ever happened, he'll be like, oh, it's the Krusty Krab Pizza episode. Like, he knows what it is right away. And I'm crazy. Like, that's literally a superpower that you have.
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple other little shows. I honestly don't really remember much about them, but one, Wonder Pets.
Oh,
you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And that was like, weren't they in like a little spaceship or something? They would like go, or am I thinking about a different one?
I'm thinking of Little Einsteins. Oh, what is it?
Going on a trip
in our favorite rocket ship. That's Little Einsteins.
Oh.
But Wonder Pets were like little pets that were superheroes, basically.
Okay.
But did you know that one of the YouTuber TikTok stars, Tila Dunn, was the voice actor of one of the Wonder Pets?
What?
She was it was Turtle something, whatever the turtle's name was.
That's crazy. And then the other one I had was the Backyardigans.
Oh, I did.
That was a good one.
Love the Backyardigans. And then obviously like Max and Ruby.
Yes, Max and Ruby. I love that one.
There's like a scene where they had like a chocolate cake or something, and I just thought about that.
I don't remember.
Somebody like remade a chocolate cake, and I was like, that looks so good. It was like a fudge chocolate cake from the show.
Yum. When I think about fudge chocolate cake, I think about Matilda.
Yes. No, literally with the boy up in front of the whole class having to down this whole entire cake.
Oh, Matilda. That's a good bringing back the nostalgia there. Wow.
That was an actually terrifying movie. Like, if you think about it, think about like putting kids in the chokey.
Like, think about how scary it is and like so sad also.
Yes.
Like just that like her parents literally did not care about her and she was so smart and they were like, stop being smart.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then even I just imagine whenever I wear like pigtails, I wear like braided pigtails all the time. I think about the teacher or the principal throwing around the blonde girl with her pigtails rolling her around and then tosses her across the street. I was like, I don't know. Every time I wear pigtails, I'm like, nobody be throwing me around.
Wow, I need to watch that movie now.
Yeah, I wonder where it's on because I would actually love to refresh on that. I think we should now move into another nostalgic topic, which are websites.
Yes.
And I know there was so many fun games that we would play growing up. The number one that pops in my head that I have been playing now is Club Penguin. They've made a new like rewritten edition of Club Penguin, and I have that downloaded to my computer and I play that like random nights sometimes whenever I'm bored. And it's so fun because back in the day you had to actually pay to be a member for Club Penguin to like buy all the clothing and stuff, but now it's absolutely free.
Really?
So all you have to do is just play games for fun. I am a pro at the cart surfer game. I do that and I get 1,000 coins every single time, and I go out and buy puffles, I buy clothes, and it's honestly fun because I don't have to actually spend any money, but I'm shopping around all the time.
That is insane. I need to download that.
Yes.
Speaking of clothing items and buying all of that, there were a couple of websites where you could like dress up like, I don't think they're necessarily Barbies, but like something like that. You like did their hair and everything. I think one of them was called Stardoll. Did you ever use that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
It was so good. And then also My Scene.
Okay, I've heard of it, but nothing comes to my brain.
And you could like paint their nails and like you do all, it was so fun. But I did see on TikTok when I was researching for this, My Scene, they don't have like their own website anymore, but you could still play the My Scene game. It's called like Namuki Barbie Makeover Studio. So it's like namuki.com.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. So if you want to try to play it, but I love that game so much as a kid. Like I was addicted.
Teddy wrote down a few notes for us to kind of refresh our brains. And when I saw this on the list, I was like, I spent hours in this game. This is called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody game. When they're pushing the freaking carts like through the lobbies of the hotel and you have to run away from Mr. Mosby. I put some hours into that game. Yeah. I loved it so much.
And I can't remember, I know that it was like on the Disney website and there were other Disney games, but I don't remember any of the other ones. I only remember Sweet Life Zack and Cody.
Me too. Like I cannot even tell you what any other game was.
Do you remember if there was like a Hannah Montana one where there was a closet, like a revolving closet?
You know, that was so crazy because that kind of slightly went into my brain before you even said that. Like it lightly, I think there was some sort of like being in her closet, but I don't know what you had to do or if you're like dressing her or like what.
Because I remember the revolving closet, but I don't know if I just remember that from the show, like how it like spun around and everything, or.
But I also wanted to bring up that I feel like out of every single show's wardrobe or room, I feel like Hannah Montana's room was the best one. Yeah. Her own secret room that she goes into and the whole like revolving closet like we just talked about, but like even having every single thing on display, I feel like that was the dream closet when we were young. And I think about now, like I have my room and it's like I have a walk-in closet, which is amazing, but I want a little secret compartment in the back of my closet to go into like a whole nother room.
Okay, another website that I have two that I feel like weren't very that popular, Neopets. Did you ever use that?
No.
They were kind of like, I feel like not like mythical creatures, but kind of like dragons and stuff like that. And I think that you could adopt them or something, and then you would play games and there was a little town and everything and you would feed them. Okay. That one was cool. And then also one that was huge at my school was Pop Tropica.
Okay. So for some reason I also thought about that website. I've never played it, but I know the name.
Oh, that was like me and my sister would spend hours.
Can you explain like what it is?
Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Is that the one that's like a theme park and you make your own theme park?
No. So you can go to different worlds, but it's also kind of like you aren't really like looking down on it. I'm trying to think, like if you're looking at the screen, you can only go left or right. Okay. And it shows you going left or right. You could jump up into the clouds. You could jump up like vines and stuff. Now that I'm thinking about it, no, I think you could play games on it. I like can't even remember really, but you can go to different worlds and you could like swim in the water and I don't know.
That's like Club Penguin basically, like kind of that premise. Just like walking around different towns.
I guess maybe.
Okay. And you chat along, like is there like a little chat log to talk to people? Oh no.
You would play by yourself.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Now that I'm like thinking about this, I'm like I don't know anything about it.
See, I do remember like it's not Pop Tropica, but I remember that like somebody could make their own roller coasters in your own theme park. And I forgot what that one was called.
I don't think
people
it's that.
would make their own like of that sort of stuff, and I always thought that was cool, but I never actually played. Another thing that I used to play a lot was Webkins.
Yes.
And I remember like anytime I went on any trip as a kid, that was like my one souvenir that I would buy is I would buy a Webkins so that when I get home, you just put the code in and you have your own little new pet to add to your collection. And I remember one time I tried to put the code in and it wasn't working because somebody stole the code. And that was a thing that was so scary, is because people would literally just like rip open the tag and just get the code so that when other people are actually buying the products, it's already taken.
Yeah, I love that game so much, and I still have all of my Webkins because, you know, in my room I have like a little ledge kind of like up top. All of my stuffed animals are just right up there, and it's so cute. I look at them all the time. I'm like, oh, I miss that game so much.
Yeah, I wonder if, because like I re-logged into my old like Club Penguin account, but I wonder if I can re-log into my Webkins. So I still have.
I tried somewhat recently, and I think I just couldn't really remember my password, but I don't know. I saw something funny on Twitter, I think it was, or maybe it was TikTok, but it was literally about like my parents barely being able to make it in the 2006 recession and begging them to buy me like a $15 Webkins pet. I'm like, that's so funny, because I do remember like that I always wanted one. My parents were like, not today. Like, yeah. I do remember also, this has nothing to do with anything, but my grandma got a puppy and I brought my Webkins to my grandma's house, and it was, I think we got it on the way to my grandma's house, and then her puppy tore up my black and white cat.
Oh yeah. My gosh.
I was like, no, my kitty.
Rip.
Literally.
Another website that we use, which honestly probably wasn't the best, wasn't the smartest. I know it was very popular when we were in like middle school, high school-ish, was Ask FM.
Yes.
And like thinking about this website now as we're older is absolutely insane, seeing that these like 12, 15-year-olds, like whatever, were using these. And basically what it is just like a full-on website where, let's say you have an account. So I have an account. So it's my page. Any single person can go onto my page and ask me whatever they want. And then when I log in, I see all these random questions and I just sit there and answer it. And it's all anonymously. And that is the scariest part, is that you have no idea who's asking these questions. Yeah. And I went back into my account like maybe a month ago. I read my whole page and I was terrified. There was so many horrendous things on both sides. Like even like me being like, why would I answer certain things in that way? And I was terrified. And I went and I stalked several people that I knew. And I went down the rabbit hole of looking at everybody's pages. And I was like, the fact that I don't even have any recollection of like me even talking to these people, me even like hanging out or doing these things or whatever. And I was terrified. And you know what I did? I went to the settings and I pressed delete account. So my account is no longer there. Nobody can see any of these horrendous things that were either said to me or I answered back to people. And it's just crazy because I was a literal child back then. Yeah. And just thinking that like there was some vile things, or even like people just like, I don't know, I can't even think of an example to give, but like just think of like some random ass like kid teenager like questions that people would ask you. Some of them would be super personal. Yeah. And just thinking of like us as children answering these things, and it's like they could be literally old men in the backside like asking these kids these questions. Like we have no idea.
That is so true.
It's so scary to think about that there were so many websites like that.
How do you sign in? What is it with? Is it with an email? And
I don't remember, but
because I want to log into mine so bad.
I stalked. I didn't look at yours, but I was looking at a bunch of people that I knew, and I was like, this is wild. Like they need to delete these like things, because some things are just so horrendous. Wow.
I honestly have no memory of any questions. I do remember like, I mean, I don't remember if any of mine were bad or like, I have no memory of what the questions were, but I do remember that some people's were pretty bad.
And even like, obviously with time, like us like getting older and stuff, like the whole generation of even how we would speak back then was so different. Not saying that it was at all right or anything, but even me like answering questions being like, that's gay, I'm like, there's no reason for me to say that back then.
I get that.
And so it's like, I don't know, I just deleted all the stuff like that.
That reminds me how you were saying that like there could literally be like grown men or just any adults just talking to us. My sister and I, we always wanted to have Facebook and MySpace, but our parents, we were never allowed to, because they were like, you're going to get kidnapped, like all of this stuff is going to happen, because I guess stuff like that happened back then, like people, but it's like you have to be smart and not give them like your address, your personal information, all of that. But one time my sister was like, do you want me to make you a MySpace? And then she made me a MySpace, and then I think like a week later it was like gone.
Oh.
I don't know if MySpace got deleted or if it was just like nobody used it anymore.
Yeah, I don't really know how it died out.
Yeah. But yeah, I also remember Facebook. We weren't allowed to have one. And one of my friends from the skating rink was like your sister has a Facebook. And I was like, we aren't allowed to have one. And she was like, okay, let's make you a Facebook and you should add her as a friend. So then we made myself a Facebook, and my sister's name, it like wasn't her real last name because we were scared that our parents would see it.
Yeah.
And my name on there was Teddie Bieber.
Oh, yes.
Because I love Justin Bieber, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was so funny. And one time, my sister's name popped up. Like my dad got an email, like people you may know. And he didn't even have a Facebook. But somehow he got an email and it's like people you may know. And I think her name on there was like, Miranda Mandy or something like that. I don't know. Just like something random. And my dad was like, what's this? And we were like, I don't know. Someone's impersonating us.
What's really funny is that my experience with Facebook was so crazy to just think about, because my mom was all for social media. She was like, oh, like, do you want a Facebook? Like, do you want an account? Because like some of my friends had it. And so she was very like you can have one if you want. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to really like be out online. Like, I don't want people to see me, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking about now, like I am obsessed with any type of social media account. And I remember one day I was like, you know what, Mom, I'm ready. Like, let's just make an account. And so we went, like one night we just went through and we made a whole account. I went to bed. I woke up and I was like, delete the account, please. Like, I don't want it anymore. Like, I had a full on switch and I was like, I don't want a Facebook. And I don't know where that went, but now I'm queen of freaking Instagram and TikTok. And now I love putting everything out there online. So
did you ever use Tumblr?
I used it from like a perspective of just watching, like looking at stuff, but I never posted anything.
I mean, I wouldn't personally post stuff, but you could like repost stuff. Like, I think that's what it was. Like, you would have your blog and you would pretty much just like repost stuff that you liked.
Okay. I feel like I maybe just wasn't so into it, but I do remember I just remember all the like Tumblr memes with like Acacia Brindley or like the just girly things, like Tumblr posts.
I feel like not to get dark or anything, but I feel like Tumblr was like, I learned a lot of stuff, but like I saw a lot of stuff on there, and I feel like it like made me depressed. I was like, what's all, like I got it in 6th grade and I was like, oh, what's this? And you would see like so much stuff, like, but I don't know. But then there was like good parts and like artsy parts, and
I was gonna say like I feel like all the like emo quote unquote or like alternative girls were like all on Tumblr, or like even like I'm just picturing the Doc Martens, the like ripped tights, the like high-waisted
Tumblr girls,
the high-waisted like American Apparel shorts,
and
then I don't even know, top like flannels or something, but very much Tumblr girls era.
And I remember they would have like a daily limit of like posts that you could repost.
It
was like 1,000 or something, which like sounds like a lot, but it's like if you're scrolling it, it's like Pinterest, like you see a picture, you're going to save it to a board or something like that, but it would just go onto your account. One thing I vividly remember in school is when we had the book fairs. And you could buy like they had so many things. They had books, they had bookmarks, they had like little toys, little erasers. I don't know if you ever got into that, but at my school, like I was like, Mom, pay up. I need some money. It's the book fair. And like we would get these like little erasers. Either they would be like food or like popcorn or like a little cat or just like stuff like that. And we would literally play with them at school. They would be in our little like pencil box, and they were so fun.
I was gonna say, not that it wasn't from the book fair or anything, but one thing, at least at my elementary school, that was so popular was these things called squishies. Did you have those when you were a kid?
I don't know.
Literally all it is flour inside of a balloon. And they tie up the balloon, so it's kind of like if you squish it, it's like squishy technically.
Yeah, that sounds really like
every single balloon had a different face. So you would have like some that had like a mean face, some were just like a smiley face, and so you would collect a bunch of squishies, but people would like play around with them and like squeeze them in class to where sometimes they would pop and flour would just go everywhere. Or I remember like people would be like teasing with other people's squishies and like throwing them around, and then finally it like falls down and just rips. And so I just feel like that was a fun thing or something that we would collect and like play with and bring in class when I was young.
Is that a toy that you would buy or something that people would make?
I feel like both. I for some reason bring back like a part of my brain where I feel like I was making them and selling them at school. Like I remember making them. And speaking of that,
I know, I was like, that's something I want to get into.
Another thing that I was doing, at least I went to Boys and Girls Club when I was in like, I don't know what it was, middle school or something, like after school or like in the summer days when my parents were at work. And the biggest thing that was very popular were the duct tape wallets.
All I have to say is these kids, when we were in like elementary school and middle school, they were hustlers.
Yes.
Would people would you make them?
Yes. Really? I would make them and
I
sell
would make them. But people would be like, oh, you want a wallet? Or they would literally make me a wallet that like, I had one, somebody made me one that said, I heart JB. Because, you know, I was obsessed with Justin Bieber. And they like literally tried to sell it to me. Like they made it specifically with me in mind. And they were like, oh, $10. Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
Like literally hustler. I wonder where they are now.
Dude, I used to literally make them for all of my friends, and I remember like at Boys and Girls Club making them and selling them. And I remember like I would go to like the Michaels or the craft store and buy every single color of duct tape, and I would take orders being like, what color, like you only get 2 colors to pick from, like what 2 colors do you want? And I just remember being a hustler back then.
That is so funny. Another thing I remember people making, which I looked it up and you can like buy them, but we called them pom-pom pals.
I've never heard of these.
Okay. So when I looked it up, I literally looked up pom-pom pals and it came up with that name or poofies.
Okay.
I can show you a picture.
Yeah, I would love to
insert it. So pretty much they are just little like cotton balls, I guess. And people would glue on like little eyes, little antennas, and like feet or something. And people literally made them, and we would bring them to school, and they would just like sit on our desk like the erasers. Like we would literally play with them, and like this was like elementary school, like when you're like playing with Barbies and all of that.
Okay,
and like so like we would like play with them. They would all have names, and like they would be all different sizes, and I don't know. But I just remember that, and I was like, that's crazy. And people would sell those too. Another thing that was really big at my school was Orbeez. I don't think that we would bring them to school. I don't know how I've really found out about them, but like everyone at my school had them, and you can go and buy them, and they would come in a little bag, and they were little like hard little balls, and you put them in water, and then they just become this like squishy thing. And I don't know what we would do with them, but I just thought that they were so cool, and they had like rainbow colors. They had the clear ones. And
speaking of some rainbow colors and different types of things, we all know, everybody knows what I'm probably thinking of, silly bands.
Silly bands.
I would literally come to class with my arms covered.
Yes.
In full on silly bands. Like now people are doing friendship bracelets, but like back then the thing was silly bands.
Yeah. And those were so fun. Like you could buy the different packs, like the animals. I had a Justin Bieber pack. Of course I had to, but those were so cool.
I remember I would actually like trade them too with people. And like the fun part is like, you don't know what they look like until you take it off and you put it on the table. And then you're like, oh, look at all these animals or like whatever. And you would just trade them out with people. Oh, I miss those.
I just like got this like feeling in my stomach. I was like, oh, I forgot, like literally taking them off and looking at all of them. Like that's so, like, how did they make a bracelet like that?
I don't know.
That stays that shape, but then you put it on your wrist and it stretches out, but then it goes back to this. That's so cool.
Like whoever invented that was actually very smart.
Yeah. Speaking of bracelets, there's something that I think everyone got because they just thought that it was so cool.
Yes.
We were in like middle school and high school, and thinking about it, like, I don't know how, at least at my school, the teachers didn't care about them. Which I understand is for a cause.
Yes.
But I'm speaking about the I Love Boobies bracelets.
Yes. I had like a pink one, a blue one, a black one. I had like all the colors. And yeah, like you can't get mad about that because it's like, this is for breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
But definitely us as children, we're like, nah, it says boobs on here, so we're going to wear it.
Like, I wonder why my parents, I'm trying to think maybe if I bought them like without them knowing. But yeah, I was that person that had bracelets all up my wrists, covering my wrists with all of these bracelets.
Yeah, I feel like we would get them from like Tilly's or like all alternative stores like Hot Topic and stuff. Speaking of going to Hot Topic and just stores in general, I once had my birthday party at a Justice, and I remember Justice was like the store when we were kids. Did you know what that store was?
Yeah, just the clothing store.
Yeah, so they had like a little, you could have a birthday party there where you get like however many girls, and they would all do your hair, all do your makeup, and then there was a little section in the store. I can picture it specifically at the one at Bellaterra, where they had a little runway where you would like walk the runway and show off your like look, and then my parents or whoever's parents would be there like taking pictures of each girl.
Okay, not to say you're wrong, but I would go to Fashion Island. There was Unlimited too. And it turned into Justice, but those were just clothing stores. There was a different store that people are calling Libby Lou, which I have never heard of, but that one was like you go and get dressed up, they do your hair and makeup, and you do the runway.
Yeah, I do know like 100% that the one at Bellaterra was Justice.
Really?
And I'm pretty
sure they had
sure,
a runway?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Justice and Libby Lou are the same thing. They probably are just like called different from the different parts of the world, just like how like Soup Plantation and Red Tomato are like the same thing, just like how Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are the same thing from like different parts of the United States.
Weird, because I always knew Justice as just the clothing store, and the Justice that's there now at Bellaterra, or is it gone now?
No, it's gone now.
But that one was just clothing recently before it went away. I remember, because I've been trying to figure out what that store was called that did the hair and makeup and the runway, and I cannot find the name anywhere. And everyone says Club Libby Lou, but I do not remember that at all. And I was doing so much research and I could not figure it out.
Specifically, I guess it wasn't necessarily a runway for the one at Bellaterra. It was where the mannequins stand out in the middle, so people outside the window could like see you.
Oh, really?
So you would walk where the mannequins are standing. And so then my parents would be like on the outside of the window spot, like as if I'm a mannequin.
Funny.
So like that's how that one was over there, because that's not like big enough.
Wow.
But so that's why I'm like, I 100% remember like that specific store.
Okay. That's weird. I've never heard of a Justice being like that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why I was like, not to say you're wrong. Wow.
And I wonder if like I feel like if we got clothes too from there, but then I'm like, I remember Justice just being expensive, so I doubt that everybody got an outfit.
Yeah, I remember getting my first Justin Bieber shirt from Justice.
How many times is she gonna bring up Justin Bieber?
I mean, hey, this is a nostalgic episode. And Justin Bieber was my life.
Yes, that is true.
Speaking of other people that were my life, Jesse McCartney. You know, that was the first poster I ever had on my wall. When me and my sister shared a room, I had it on the back door or on the back of the door, and it was just a picture of Jesse McCartney, and I was in love with him.
I do remember having posters full on my walls when I was young. I remember, I think like mine were literally just the Disney Channel stars, like all of High School Musical. I had like Hannah Montana ones, like Selena Gomez. I just had like all of that era of posters. Yeah.
Once I got my own room, we would get like the magazines, and I think that's where we would get the posters. And I only got Justin Bieber ones, and I had them all over my room. There was one right above my bed that said, "This room belongs to Justin Bieber's #1 fan." Okay, enough about Justin Bieber. And speaking of stores also, I know Claire's are still around, but we would take trips to Claire's and get like you can get your ears pierced there. We would get earrings, but I feel like the main thing I remember is getting the friendship necklaces, like the best friends. And you would like get the necklace, and I would go to school and be like, who am I going to give this to today?
See, I have two things to say about Claire's. So one, with the friendship necklaces, I have never been somebody to ever own one of those, because I never had one person that was like my best friend.
Really?
Like I've never had like a best friend to ever give anybody to. So like whenever I would see like those types of jewelries be in stores, I just knew like that was never for me.
Oh,
so sad.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
But two, Claire's is where I had to get my ears pierced, because after getting them pierced when I was a child, I played sports a lot and my ears closed up. So I did go back when I was, I believe, either in middle school or high school. I was like older. And I remember being like an older, not like old, but like, you know, just like grown up more of a child. And I remember going to the mall, so scared because I'm terrified of needles, and going to get my ears pierced. And I just remember like people from my school saw me getting my ears pierced, being in tears. Like I was crying, and the workers had to do both ears at the same exact time because I didn't want to do, like, I was literally in tears, and I didn't want like one and then them to finally do the other one, which honestly to this day I regret so much because one of my holes is lower than the other. Like they are not even. Wow. My right one just like dangles lower, and so that's why I feel like if one of my ears are ever to rip, it's definitely gonna be this one, because whenever I have some dangly earrings that are heavy, they just hang down a little bit. So like, you know, just suck it up for that little second. But as a child, I just remember being terrified, traumatized of me like crying. I think I was maybe even in high school. I just remember crying and then seeing people from my high school see me. And I'm like, that is the worst thing. You never want somebody from high school to see you cry.
Yeah. But one last story I remember is wet seal.
Ooh, loved it.
Yes.
That was in the saturated YouTube era.
Yeah.
I remember seeing my girls, Leisha Marie. We have My Life as Ava. I can't even think of like a Miss Remy Ashton, and just having everything saturated, having all the wet seal like unboxings and hauls.
Yeah.
And I just remember wanting to go all the time.
Yeah. Something that I just feel like is so, like when I think about my childhood, is like VHS movies, or I guess VHS movies and DVDs. They would have like the home screen. Like you wouldn't just put it in and it would play. You would put the movie in, and then there would be a home screen, and it would be like interactive. Like you could play games on it. You could like, it would like talk to you. And there were always commercials in it too of the movies that were coming out that year.
I can't recollect like what you're saying, but I
Really?
do remember having VHS tapes.
Yeah. Those were like the rectangle ones.
Yeah. I remember having like the bright orange ones for like Rugrats or like any Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah. I don't know. And there was one that my sister told me about, and I was like, wow, I do not remember that. But there was a Snow White DVD. I think it was a DVD, or maybe it was a VHS, but you could play a game, and it was like a mining game, and you would like go down this mining track, and then you would have to choose if you wanted to go left or right, and then there might be like rocks blocking your way, and then you would have to hit it until, or like press a button until the rocks went out of the way. It was just like cool how they did that extra step to like actually have a game or something in the movie too.
I wonder, like, do you still have your VHS tapes nowadays?
I think so. I think my parents have them.
Yeah, I feel like we have to have them somewhere. But isn't it crazy where it's like, even with having DVDs, like nobody even, like there's no reason if they're all on these platforms, like these streaming platforms. But I guess it is nice because, like, for example, I have the whole catalog of all Harry Potter movies.
Oh, wow.
And I think before we had to buy them to like rent them on the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
I think now they're available, but back then I was like, I'm not gonna pay $3 for 7 movies.
Yeah.
And so I would always just have the DVDs handy. But nowadays it's like we don't really need that anymore.
Yeah. And like there's like no DVD players anymore. Or...
No. So well, at least not that I know of, but what we have is our Xbox. That's how we're able to play like DVDs.
Oh, you could do that on there?
Yeah, on the Xbox.
That's cool. When I was a kid, I played with a lot of Barbies, all of that stuff. But there's a few toys that I just loved so much, and I'm just gonna do a little rapid fire. Okay, so first up, Polly Pockets.
Okay.
Did you ever play with those?
See, I don't think I just remember them being rubber, and I remember people saying that they would chew on like their shoes or something.
Oh my god.
Like when they were kids. But like, to be honest, I feel like I have no recollection of like whatever specific items I used to play with when I was a kid.
Yeah, I had Polly Pockets. They were just like little dolls, like smaller than Barbies, I think, and then it was like rubber clothes. I do remember I had a little car for them, and some of the Polly Pockets, it would literally come in like you would open it up and it would have like their clothes in there and the doll or something.
Oh, like a little booklet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Another one, My Little Pony.
Okay, you would play with like little figurines.
They were literally little ponies, but they had different colors. I think maybe I'm thinking wrong also, but I think it was kind of like Care Bears.
Okay.
How they had different like personalities or different, like the pink one was, I don't know, something like that.
Nice.
Littlest Pet Shop.
Okay. Nothing comes to my head.
Oh my gosh. I had literally the pet shop. Like I had the whole like house and everything, and it came with like maybe like 10 animals, and I don't know. It was so cute. I love that.
You know, the first thing right now, something just popped in my head. You know what? I don't remember playing with like girl toys all that much. I'm sure I definitely did. I know I have Barbies, all that stuff, but I do have a younger brother, and I specifically remember always playing with cars, like little toy cars, like Hot Wheels, and like we had the iconic rug that has like the little town and the little like streets and stuff. And I remember we would have a big bucket and we would just dump the bucket over of like 100 different cars, and we would split them, and then we would just play with them like on the rug and like other Hot Wheel-esque like routes that we would have, like little things like that.
That's cool. It's kind of weird thinking, like, I mean, not weird, but like since you're the oldest child, you would think that maybe there would be more girl toys first.
That's
but
true.
Yeah.
I definitely, like, my parents listening to this, like, I definitely had girl toys, but it's crazy to where like I don't have any recollection of like what I played with, but I do specifically remember like playing with the cars and like the Batman like superheroes that my brother had.
Maybe you just didn't really like the Barbies or something.
But also maybe that I was a little bit older to be aware of like what I was playing with when I was with him, which were only 4 years difference. But like maybe when I was an actual child, like I didn't remember it to where like I remember it a little bit more.
That's funny. My mom just told me that she used to pay my sister to play Barbies with me.
Oh my gosh.
She was like, I would literally like force, because I always wanted to play Barbies. I would like take them in the bath with me. I would like, they were my life. Like they had a life and I was the director of their life.
Oh my gosh.
I remember I was still in 6th grade and I wanted to play, and my sister, she's like 3 years older than me. Yeah, 3 years. So she was like already in high school, I think, when I was in 6th grade. She was like, I don't want to play Barbies. Yeah. And my mom would pay her to play Barbies with me. And speaking about, since we're on Barbies, I had this dog. I think you would lift up the tail and the mouth would open, and you put a little pebble in it, and then you would like close the tail or something and then lift it up again and it would poop it out. Oh my gosh, that was in the Barbie movie. I remember seeing that. Oh yes. Yeah.
Because I don't remember that as a kid, but like I'm sure I definitely have seen it before, like on commercials or something.
Yeah. And my all-time favorite, not my all-time favorite Barbie, but the one that I can remember was a Ken doll.
Okay.
And it was this tan Ken doll. He had like dirty blonde hair and he smelled like coconut. He smelled so good.
Whoa. Yeah. Like at all times, or was it like a scratch and
sniff?
No,
at all times. Whoa. Like I probably had him like for 5 years later and he still smelled like coconut.
Oh my gosh.
And I was trying to look him up on Google, could not find anything. And my sister found him, and it was like, she said it was like a limited edition, like 2005 Ken doll and he was supposed to smell like sunscreen.
Whoa.
But it smelled like coconut. It smells so good.
Wow, that sounds nice.
I know. And the last little game that I remember is, I don't know if they still make them. We went to Disney and I saw one. I don't know if I was with you, but I was like freaking out about it. It's a little handheld thing, and inside of it is water and like little rings. And then there's like little spikes, so you have to try to get the rings onto the spikes. So you would push the buttons and it would like blow bubbles, and it would make the rings blow up in the water, and then it would like go onto the spikes.
Oh, okay.
If you're watching on YouTube, maybe we'll put a little picture of it.
I do remember you showing it to me, and and you were like, do you remember this? Like you were so excited. And I'm like, I've never seen this thing in my life.
That's crazy.
Speaking though of rings and water, I do remember, I feel like I was just an active kid of like, I would play outside. Like outside was my playground rather than like playing inside. Yeah. I just remember like we would have a bunch of outdoor like toys, games. We would play sports out in like our front yard. But another thing we had was a pool, but like not a backyard pool, just like a pool that you blow up.
Oh, okay.
And then we had it in our front yard. And I remember we would have like all the toys that you throw at the bottom of the pool that you'd have to jump in and like dive in to find. Like I remember doing those, and that was like my mission, was to collect them all every single time.
We had a little Nemo toy. Oh. And it was like battery operated, but it would swim, but it had the one small fin and then the one big fin, so it would just like swim in circles.
That's so funny.
One last thing that I remember from my childhood, because I remember nothing else, is the Barbie movies. Did you ever watch those?
Okay, I know I definitely did. And I know people to this day like bring it up, being like the Barbie and the ballerina one or whatever, like people being obsessed with it. I don't have any recollection.
So my sister told me about this and I was like, you are right. She said that she always thinks about the Nutcracker movie.
Okay.
Which I don't remember, but I always think about the Swan Lake one.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yes. I do remember both of the Nutcracker and the Swan Lake, but I cannot visually even see what the characters look like.
Yeah. So there's like a whole thing of movies. And do you remember also there is the there's like, I don't know if there's, I think they're sisters, but there's one with brown hair, one with blonde hair, and the Barbies, they also sing.
Okay, yes.
It's like, I'm just like you.
Yes, uh-huh.
I don't really remember what movie that is, but that is from a movie. But
yeah, see, when you pulled this up,
like
I gasped because there's so many different types of Barbie movies. That's insane. I definitely watched at least some of them, but I can't even remember like what they're about or anything. So
yeah, I don't know. I thought that one was cool.
Yeah. Speaking about me being a very outdoor kid when I was younger, I played a lot of the outdoor sports at school. So I did like the handball, the tetherball, all that sort of stuff. And with playing those games when we were little, you always get like picked with partners or teams. And the one thing that I remember is everybody being in a circle and putting one foot in. And remember the I can't even think of how it goes.
Bubblegum.
In a dish.
Yeah. How many pieces do you wish?
I remember like all those chants. Oh. And I remember like the hanky panky like handshaking things.
The lemonade.
Crunchy ice. I remember those.
Beat it once. Beat it twice. Those lemonade, crunchy ice, beat it once, beat it twice. Turn around, touch the ground, kick your boyfriend out of town, and freeze.
Yeah. I remember all those like fun little chants and like things we would do as a kid. I'm trying to think of like anything else. But you did just show me a picture.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called. It's like the fortune.
I think we would call it like a fortune teller or something.
Okay. Where you make this thing out of a piece of paper.
It's like an origami kind of thing.
Yes, like an origami fortune teller situation. Yeah. And it starts with like the 4 different colors and it's like pick a color. And then you open it up and then you have odds or evens and then they pick whatever side and then it has numbers and you pick a number and then inside is like whatever we would write.
That many times. And
we would write like you're cute or like something or like, random.
Like your boyfriend is going to, or your crush is going to ask you out at the end of the school day.
Yes. Just very random stuff. Like it's so crazy to think what our brains came up with back then. Like everything was either just like boys or girls just being obsessed with like all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I miss that. I want to make one.
Well, this was a fun little episode of just bringing back the nostalgia. If there is anything that you are thinking about that we haven't brought up, definitely add that into the comments so we can have a little refresher and reminisce on that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed going over my childhood and all the things that I loved when I was a kid. It makes me want to play with Barbies again. And just pull out all of my toys. I think we probably threw them away or gave them away at a garage sale. I don't know. But that is it for this episode. If you liked it, remember to give it a rating and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're watching on YouTube, give it a like and comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications, all that. We are here every single Wednesday, unless we forget.
Unless one of us are sick.
Yeah. But that is it. We will see you all next Wednesday. And we are
the Quirky Cast. Bye.